Hey everybody, Ryan FMG here, and we have something awesome to talk about. Just a couple days ago, Teppen announced the new set that will be coming out pretty soon, just about a week away in January, and it is the Battle of Amitsu. And this is basically a sequel to the Tale of Amitsu, so it's with the same cast of characters. We're probably not going to see any, Ryus or Jills. It's probably just going to be in the two Capcom IPs that were introduced with the previous set. And that's kind of fun, right? Usually each set we get is kind of a brand new set with a brand new theme. So it's kind of a little bit interesting to get a sequel. But the most interesting part, and the part I'm most excited about, is what are the cards going to do? What are the mechanics going to be? And what we're going to be talking about today, who is the new hero? Now, just a little bit ago, people were discussing, do we think the new hero is going to be black or purple? And it is black, and her name is Demon Queen Oichi, and she seems pretty cool, right? Her hero art cinematics seem very, very cool. But what I'm most want to know about is how good are her hero arts going to be? And so that's what we're going to discuss about today. And like most of these videos, these are just my first initial reactions. Well, I've read them, so they're technically, my second reactions, but we haven't gotten to play with them. We haven't seen all the new cards and stuff like that. So I could be very right about my initial responses or very wrong. And hey, you know what? That's a risk I'm willing to take. First up, we have Dancing Dead, a new type of DD, right? We have Wesker DD and now we have Oichi DD. But what does this new DD do? It's 23 AP, deal damage to an enemy unit equal to the number of unit cards in your graveyard. If a unit dies from this damage, your hero gains +3 life. Let's just look at this in a vacuum. 23 AP is kind of a little expensive, but nothing terrible. The effect is good, right? To kill something, hopefully, and if it does die, you gain 3 life. I like that effect. However, you have to be playing this in a deck that has a lot of units. So your units, you can play cheap units, have them die, and then use your Dancing Dead to actually kill something. Because if your DD is only doing 3 or 4 damage and it's not killing anything, well, one, you spent 23 AP to not kill anything and you're not gaining 3 life. So the deck building restriction that you have to be cognizant of when playing DD is, am I playing a lot of cheap units that are really easy to die or get death effects? And maybe you don't even need to do that. Maybe just any cheap units will suffice. If you can do that, and also to be fair, that's not that hard. A lot of Teppen decks are playing a lot of units, and a lot of black decks are playing a lot of units, so that's not that hard. Overall, I do think this is good. However, let's compare it to other removal hero arts, like Ryu Hadoken. Ryu Hadoken is 20 AP, that is 3 AP cheaper, and it doesn't matter how many units you play, it doesn't matter how many units are dead, it automatically deals 7. That's a pretty good baseline, right? So in my mind, what's better? I'm not quite sure, and yes, it is red or black, but this is what you should be thinking about. Or let's look in black, Wesker DD. I just kind of jokingly talked about the old DD is 20 AP, so yet again 3 cheaper than this new hero art, and it can deal with anything and just kills it outright if it's 5 MP or less. Doesn't matter about shields or if you have 20 HP unit or whatever. However, what is nice about this DD is it doesn't matter what your MP cost unit is, right? If you have a 10 MP cost unit, well, and if you have 10 things in the yard, you can still kill it. So goods and bads all around. What maybe is the most similar is Akuma Raging Demon. That is 23 AP, so the AP is actually the same. And there are some deck building restrictions with Raging Demon, actually a lot. You have to be making sure you play a lot of Ascend units because you need Ascend units to actually make Raging Demon worth anything. So what's easier? Well, technically it's easier to play this DD because it doesn't care what type of units you're playing as long as you are playing units. Rather than with Raging Demon, you have to be playing Ascend units. So if you're talking about pure deck building restrictions, I would say that this DD is easier to play than Raging Demon and opens it up to a lot more different style decks. However, Raging Demon is kind of a pump spell, right? Because it pumps up and triggers that ascend, which you really, really want, where the only added thing with this DD is you get +3 life, and +3 life is good, right? That's nothing to scoff at. That is very good, especially when it's attached to a really powerful hero power. So I know I just kind of listed everything, and I wasn't saying this is better or worse, but I do think that there are a lot of destroy straight up effects on hero powers, as well as dealing damage. And right now, this looks promising, but not necessarily, oh, this is 100% better than the old Wesker DD or Raging Demon or Ryu Hadoken, but definitely looks promising, and I'm definitely very excited to play with it. Number 2 is Despair, Wail, and Perish. That's a very long one. I'll probably be calling it Despair or DWP or something like that to make it a little bit shorter. But what does it do? It is 28 AP. So 28 AP is a lot, right? That is, I think, probably the highest AP hero art we have. So it better do something really good. Place 3 black units in your graveyard with an MP cost of 4 or less onto the field. Give all friendly units +1/+1. Okay, that is doing a lot. First off, it is only black units, so you are probably only playing this in a mono black deck, which is restrictive, but not that restrictive by any means. And it is MP cost of 4 or less units, which yet again is restricted, but man, there's tons of great 3 and 4 cost black units that you would love to resurrect, because a lot of those are very either aggressive or value centric. And then it gives all friendly units +1/+1. That does a whole lot. So if you have an empty board, and let's say you do have some stuff in your graveyard, you bring back 3 units, pump them up +1/+1, that is a ton of value just with one hero power activation. I will say the big caveat is that this is 28 AP, and that is very, very expensive. And there's more games that maybe you just get to trigger at once compared to if you were playing a cheaper hero power that you could trigger twice in a game. But if you get so much value out of DWP that just that one trigger is enough, it can go a long way. I think this shows a lot of promise, and this is definitely going to be how many good 3 and 4 MP cards can you play in your deck. And it does your deck actually suffer because you're kind of building around this hero power. Because if more times than not you can get 3 units back from the graveyard and anthem them +1/+1, that could go a long way. So I'm hopeful that this will be good. And I actually will say I do like, though, that the cost is 28 AP, because if this was cheaper, even, 20 or 23, which is still kind of towards the higher end, I think this could be easily broken because you are getting so much value. So yes, it's expensive, but I think the value and the expensive might match up in a marriage that you want to play it, or maybe it doesn't, and maybe this will just see fringe play. The last hero power is Dark Invitation. It is 14 AP, activate the death ability of a friendly unit. It is just one friendly unit, so right, you do have to target it. That can be really good, and this all is about how many good death effects are you playing. Well, first comes up is the units that when they die, they destroy a 3 MP cost unit, or a 4 MP cost unit, or Slow Tyrant. Hey, play Slow Tyrant, use your hero power to flip it to Fast Tyrant right away. That's pretty good. And what's so nice about this hero power is that it's cheap. It's 14 AP. That means you can do this twice compared to just once of DWP. That seems pretty good. Now, it doesn't necessarily destroy a unit, right? It's not a death-destroying hero art, and it's not really giving a unit a keyword, right? Like agility or crush or something like that. But it kind of can be a destroy, because, right, if your death trigger is a destroy trigger, then it is a Wesker DD or something like that. Or if your unit, when dies, pumps up something else or transforms into a Fast Tyrant or something like that, it is almost kind of like one of those hero powers that do pump up one of your units to make them a bigger threat, which I find that very fun. Right, this hero art will change drastically with what units you choose to play and what units you choose to actually activate this on. A big note, is you can play this in multicolor decks. It is not just black units. It is any color unit. That is very cool. This doesn't pop out as, oh my god, this is extremely powerful. But as soon as I see that it's 14 AP, it's like, huh, that's a really cheap hero power, and there's some really good death effects. I really like this one and the flavor of it, that this could be whatever you want. It could be removal, it could be a pump spell, it could be gaining your hero life, whatever you want to build around can be very good. So I do think that this one also has promise. Overall, Oichi's 3 hero powers are all kind of different, right? We have a more traditional removal spell, but that is still different because it cares about units in your graveyard of how good your removal is. Then the second one is resurrecting your units and giving them an anthem. And then the third one is kind of all about death triggers. So I like the 3 different avenues that they took. And man, there are way different AP costs, right? We have from pretty darn low of 14 AP to really high of 28 AP. So she's kind of all over the place, which maybe that's going to be a good thing, because maybe then her decks will be very different based on what hero power you're using and stuff like that. Overall, too long didn't read version of my thoughts is I'm a little skeptical of number 1 of Dancing Dead. I think this is a very good hero art, but I'm not quite sure yet if it's better than other destroy hero arts. I don't think that it's going to be strictly just terrible, but I'm not sure if there's enough reason to play it over the other really powerful hero arts like Raging Demon or Wesker DD that have shown its salt over time. So a little on the fence. Despair, Wail, and Perish, I think this is a very, very powerful hero art that is very, very expensive, but if you can build your deck around it, I think there could be a lot of cool builds to really take advantage of this hero art, so I'm kind of a little excited to start brewing with it. Then Dark Innovation is maybe the one that I'm most excited about to see how good it is, because this can kill something. This can be a pump spell. It's kind of all up to you and what units you're playing. So overall, how good do I think it is? I'm a little hopeful for it, actually, because it is just 14 AP, and that is very low. And a good 14 hero power can be very, very good very fast. So overall, even the ones that I'm a little fence leaning on, I still think can be good, and maybe we'll be like, oh wow, this is just better than Raging Demon once we get to play with it. But thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.